Good morning, everybody. This is the right side of campus. It is October 8th, 2018. It's Monday, wrapping up the weekend in sports. I am the big man on campus here for SPR Sports 6 and SPRForum.com. My co host, Donnie Wrightside. Donnie, football, long weekend, lot going on, baseball, a lot going on. We wrap it up here. How you doing? How was your weekend, Donnie Wright?
Doing great, man. Fantastic weekend. Good weather up here, still in the 80s this morning in October. You had good weather at the Eagles game. Not a good result for us Eagle fans, but fantastic week of sports. Baseball. And you know what the interesting thing is? I always like to say, baseball was going on. I didn't watch a single pitch. Is anybody outside of like just being a fan of like the Braves or the Dodgers? Did you watch a single pitch of baseball yesterday? It didn't even make it to my TV. I had to wake up and actually see who won yesterday and what anybody did. It wasn't even on my radar yesterday with the NFL.
But technically, Donnie, I didn't watch 1 second of football either, other than the live game that I went to. But yeah, you're right. I haven't watched much baseball other than the Yankee series. I haven't really watched it. You talk about the weather, though. I saw towards the end of the week, Donnie. I mean, 58, 58, 57. So you're going to see some cooler weather. I think that was the last of the warm stuff yesterday, but it was very warm. It was kind of out of line, I thought. It's October not supposed to be 80, but it is what it is. We welcome in everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a great Monday. We're here to get you started here and kind of recap what would happen over the weekend. Welcome in to all the people out there listening. As always, please do us a favor, hit the like button and say hello in the chat. Get on the show and make your voice heard. We'll start out, Donnie, with some headlines. We welcome in Chai Picks, Donald Jr., Troy, Comic Ricky, Steven, Footy, Donald, Lawrence, all the people in here. Welcome in. Thanks for checking us out. Donnie, we'll start out with some baseball news quickly. I know the playoffs are going on, and the Brewers have advanced. They are the first team to do it, Donnie, and we're not surprised by this. The Rockies scored 2 runs in this series. Just dreadful, dreadful, dreadful stuff. I almost wish the Cubs would have won somehow. I think it would have been a better series. It would have been at least a little more interesting. Colorado was absolutely dreadful. How do you get shut out at home? At home.
Yeah, yeah, at home. No, I mean, that's just a product of a really good bullpen. And when you get down 0-2 in a series, you basically, in a 5-game, you're saying, we got to win 3 in a row. Let's just go home and, cut it short and get to the off season as fast as we can. As I said, I only saw the final score, but you're right. Just seeing the shutout up there. Good for the Brewers. It's the team from the NL that I am rooting for. Oakland A's are out, obviously, in the AL, so the big bangers are going after it out there. But I like the Brewers. I like the team. I think they're set up for a postseason run. Fantastic lineup, both good mix of speed, power, and contact, and a lockdown bullpen. You can go places in Major League Baseball if you can do that.
Yeah, impressive work by them. I mean, you hold the Rockies to no runs in Coors. That's tough to do. But yeah, the Rockies really just didn't show up in this series. I mean, dreadful stuff. Yeah, and you really even look back to the Cub game. I mean, they weren't unbelievable offensive in that game either. And they'd be coming in to the playoffs, really kind of firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Miguel Sano, Donnie, was arrested yesterday. The Twins third baseman who look, I mean, you look at last year, he had that issue with a sexual assault, I believe, or some kind of issue with a photographer last year. And he really, Donnie, hasn't been the same. I mean, you look at this season, I mean, he only hit 199. Didn't, it seemed like he wasn't ever in there. Yesterday, he was arrested after an incident with a police officer that led with the police officer had a broken leg. He ran over the officer's foot during an incident outside of town. He was found to be driving while without a license and not carrying the proper identification. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Miguel Sano, Donnie, but it's not been good for him lately. He's had a lot of run-ins recently, and this only adds to it. Didn't have a good season either.
Yeah, I believe they sent him down to single A, I think, at some point during the season to try to, right the ship and tell him, like, look, this isn't going to go on here. You're going to go to the bottom rungs until you can straighten it out. Maybe a weight issue out there. But one of the young rising guys, almost in that Big Poppy type mold. But hey, look, obviously
Sure.
not the personality or the talent of Big Poppy at this point. It looks like he's headed nowhere fast. Not good to be in the off season, blowing off some steam, but also getting in trouble and running over police officers' legs. Not the greatest look for Miguel Sano and the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, the weight was a problem for him. He's not really been able to fix it. And you're right, he had to get down to the minors last year to
Yeah.
work on his game. It hasn't helped him out. And you see him kind of falling down into the cauldron of despair as an athlete. Never good. Donnie Mayhem at UFC 229. What a night it was out at T-Mobile Arena. I was watching this. I think a lot of us were when all this went on. A wild scene. Let's remember, Khabib won the fight. He beat Connor. He submitted him, and that was it. But it's what happened after the fight, Donnie, that was more important. Obviously, Khabib jumps over the stanchion into the crowd, goes after one of Connor's trainers. After the trainer said some things to Khabib, and then as that's going on and ending, someone from Khabib's camp runs into the arena or into the ring and starts beating up Conor McGregor, one of the Chechen fighters that is affiliated with Habib. A wild scene. You'd have to expect those the few that ran into the ring, they're gone. I mean, you're not going to see them again. And according to Dana White, Donnie, in the press conference, he said if all that's obviously proven, they won't ever fight in the country again, as far as UFC is concerned. Um, Khabib, you'd have to figure he'll get stripped of his title. Um, Listen, I will not try to justify this. I won't. I'm not going to try to say that anything Habib did was to board. But Donnie, over where they're from, it's a different world. Okay, that's looked at as honorable. You defend your honor, you defend your father, you defend your religion, you defend people like Conor McGregor, and leave this be a lesson to Conor McGregor. This political religious stuff has to stay out of the sport. There's no room for this. You want to talk about somebody, you want to call them a rat or whatever you want. I don't care, but don't bring in their affiliation. Don't talk about their mother and father. Um, Conor McGregor needs to stop with this stuff. It's not good. It's bad behavior. And he met a guy that didn't put up with it.
No, but you have to also take it with a grain of salt because going back to the Mike Tyson days where he was all crazy going after Evander Holyfield, making Lennox Lewis comments, it's all part of the game because it's all money. It wouldn't be surprising, Jeff, if behind the scenes, Connor and Khabib are actually just communicating on what they're going to do next because the
No,
only
I
thing
don't
it
think.
does is build their money. You would have thought that Floyd Mayweather and Connor hated each other and they were teamed up behind the scenes to make this happen, disrespect each other at every turn, and laugh all the way to the bank. Now, if it's really true that Khabib does not like Conor McGregor, thinks he's extremely disrespected, if he turns down the next fight with Conor McGregor in a rematch, then I'll respect it. But there's no way, shape, or form they'll fight again. And the best part about this sport, though, Jeff, if you think the guy is disrespecting you, it's not like in football where you can't take a cheap shot or you can't hit a guy late. You can literally do damage to this guy one-on-one in an octagon and take out your frustration, which he did, choking out Conor McGregor. If this is all hype and this is all substance and Khabib is really serious about this, he won't fight Conor McGregor again, but you know as well as I do that rematch will be on, and they'll be shaking hands and saying, you know what? We each made a couple $1 million this time. Wait to the next one. We both get over
I
$10 million
think
for this main event.
at least for me, I think for Khabib, Donnie, you got it all wrong. I don't think Khabib gives a fuck about anything. I think he cares about his honor, himself. He's very rich. I mean, he comes from money. His father's very powerful over there. He's got connections. Again, he fights for money. I get it, but I don't. I think he generally hates Conor McGregor. I think that was clear. I think this is more than just some kind of sham for a fight. At least that's what my thoughts were. I'm not. Look, I'm not going to say I'm a huge UFC guy, but I found Khabib to be fascinating as far as kind of him and what he's all about. And from what I've seen, it doesn't look like he has. That's a long-winded. He hates Conor McGregor sort of thing. I don't think we'll see Habib for a while. I think he'll be suspended by the NVAC. I don't think we're going to see him for a long time.
Yeah, but then
As
they'll
far
probably
as
fight in like California or something like that. Dana White's always my favorite. He's appalled by all this stuff of behind the scenes working it over, making sure nobody's getting charged. And seeing how he can put it, because it's unbelievable theater for UFC. So he can go on there and say it's disrespectful, it can't happen again. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, he's high-fiving every single person on his promotional team going, you wait about this. Because if you saw the one that people were getting mad at was the promotion for the fight in the arena kept on showing the Conor McGregor throwing the, like, the dolly up against the bus and, going after Khabib's team and stuff like that. That was part of the hype, and this will be too. They'll promote it. It'll be a monster for UFC. It'll be a monster for the gate. It'll be a monster for both fighters. They're going to get it going, and this promotional tour next is going to be insanity.
I'm going to go ahead and guess we'll never see that fight, in my opinion. Donnie, you say we will. I don't think.
You already saw it
I don't.
after. You already saw the tweets after it. Conor McGregor say, "Yeah, can't wait for the rematch. It's coming." When
That might
money
be
talks, man, money talks.
that might be Connor's opinion of it. But Donnie, Khabib doesn't need the money. Doesn't fight for money. That's not his thing.
Why does he fight in
Khabib
UFC? Why doesn't he just fight in like the basement of a bar, like in
because he's
Chechnya?
obsessed with fighting, bro. He's
Yeah,
have you ever seen
exactly.
the videos of the guy? He's nuts. He fights animals and over there fighting is part of life. I mean, everybody fights UFC. I mean, all the guys over there. Even the president of Chechnya has a huge gym. They're nuts, man. They love that kind of stuff. But we'll see. Maybe you're right. I mean, obviously it makes sense.
You know what?
Um,
See, like I'm not a big UFC guy, Jeff. I will buy the next fight if they fight each other again because you're waiting on mayhem. It's fantastic theater. You
Listen,
like they talk about it all morning, like it was a big fight to begin with, but if he just beat Conor McGregor, you talk about it for a couple minutes and move on. But now this just escalated it, and you already know, man, that promotion engine is firing up for about 6 months from now, right around that after Christmas, maybe in that dead of winter in February. Oh man, it's going to be sensational.
yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and say no, but we'll see. We'll see if that ever happens. I don't know if how would you even do it? I mean, you saw what happened, Donnie. I mean, they couldn't handle that. They couldn't even give the guy the belt. I mean, it was a wild scene there. I mean, you had people
Yeah.
jumping into the ring. I mean, what would you have to fight in a closed
That's how they would
area where
hype
no
it, yeah,
one?
because and you would see, yeah, but you would see it like they would just shut everything down, like, the promotion of the fight would just be like, some locked courtroom where they had to separate both. It would be insane. The build up to Conor McGregor Khabib 2 would be absolute insanity and would break every single UFC record. It's happening.
I'm gonna say no. I'm still saying I want to say no. I think Habib is more. I don't think he's all about that. I think
Dude,
he
don't
he
you think he
will
wants to get
literally.
back in the ring with Conor now and
I'm
like
sure.
really snap his neck? Like he's gonna want
Yeah.
this, isn't he? Or is he just gonna have
Yeah.
one? Or
Uh,
maybe like you see like these movies like overseas where you have these like underground fight clubs, but they're paying like millions of dollars, like Chinese investors are literally like what I mean. There's like 30 people in the bottom basement with $5 million in cash on the table for these guys to settle it. Somebody has to walk out of here. I could see that happen if somebody's going to set it up, but there's way too much promotion in this not to have it go UFC style.
I mean, you're seeing over in England, Donnie, London. You're seeing reports that Conor McGregor may retire after losing. That's what I'm reading
Yeah,
here.
but that's a great thing
You
also
know,
because Conor McGregor says, I don't want to fight and retire. And then he calls Khabib in 30 days, and Khabib just starts some Twitter rant like he retired because I put him in the retirement. And then McGregor goes, I'm coming out of retirement. I'm going to smash this guy. And there we go. Everybody's making tens of millions of dollars again.
yeah, we'll see here what happens. I'm going to go on the record and say I don't think we'll ever see these two fight again.
Yeah.
I think it's more than just the money. I think it's about
Yeah.
Conor
Taylor H says
or
Khabib will
Khabib.
be rolled in on a dolly like Hannibal Lecter for the fight. See? The promotion will be awesome, man. I can't. You know what? I will buy if this happens. Buying the fight right here at Donnie Rightside house, and we invite some people over. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, listen, for Khabib, it's not about money. It is not about money. It's clear. If it was about money to Khabib, Khabib would never have done what he did Saturday night. You
Yeah,
don't
but if
do
it
that.
wasn't about money, he wouldn't be in the UFC. He would just be street fighting people, knocking people out like it was who was the
I strongly
fighter that was
urge
just
you
in
guys.
boatyards fighting people? Kimbo Slice. He would just do Kimbo Slice. He would just have his boys video record some random fights, him knocking dudes out in boatyards. You know what I mean? Fighting
Yeah, I mean,
Afro
look,
Puff and all those boys. You know what I mean? Come on.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Should be interesting going forward here. What's going to
Yep.
happen with Connor? Listen, Robert, it's my opinion. I mean, I'm sorry you don't agree with me. It's my opinion. That's all. I mean, I don't see it. You look at what those two are. They're the polar opposite of each other. I don't think we see it. Do you smell what the Khabib is cooking? That's funny. That's
Mhm.
funny. What else do we have here? What else do we have here? Al, welcome in. Thanks. Georgia, welcome in. Bobby, Eric, Zach, Steve, Alex, welcome in. Donnie, let's get into some NFL. We recap the
Yeah.
weekend in the NFL. A fun weekend, an interesting weekend. A lot of blowouts I saw. A lot of 41-17 type matchups. We move that little lever down there if we can. I guess if we're able to.
You could pull the
Eagles, Donnie.
slot machine down. Yes, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah. Eagles were very sloppy yesterday. Where do we begin with this group? Look, Donnie. Last week I had some concerns about this one. I really did. I worried about this Kirk Cousins, and look, I haven't been able to watch the replay, but it looked to me Kirk Cousins was making every play he could by the skin of his teeth. Sack coming. He's able to get the job done. He shredded the Eagles yesterday. I thought the offensive line again was very poor. I thought the defense continues to struggle. Zero pass rush. You had one sack. You had another sack that should have been a sack. It's called a penalty, which may have been the worst call in the history of the world. And I'll ask you, Donnie, quickly, what do you do there? I mean, where do you grab? Where do you grab the waist? What are you supposed to grab?
No,
Because
you
you
don't do
can't.
anything. Yeah, it was a shame. It was a really poor call, and there should be a replay mechanism set in place for that because if you're coming off the edge, you lose your balance and get pushed into a quarterback, hit him in the ass, slide down, and barely even bring him down to the ground. It can't be a penalty. That was a huge swing because it was a 4-point swing at that point because you would have tried a long field goal. And who knows if Dan Bailey would even make the field goal the way he was missing. But it came down to a lot
Sure.
of other factors. The game was 3-3 with 4 minutes to go. The Eagles had a 1st and 10 on the 31 of the Vikings going in and a strip sack fumble, which goes the opposite way. That turned the tide in the football game. A couple key drop passes, but the Eagles were sloppy in that game. You know what I mean? You could say whatever you want about the referees with bad spots and not calling false starts and
Well,
poor play against the Eagles, but the Eagles gave that game away. I mean, and Kirk Cousins was really good in that football game, but that's what he does. Wiggles out of plays, makes some things. And also, when the Eagles, Jay Ajayi fumbling inside the 5-yard line, another monster play. And the very next play that happened, Fletcher Cox gets a good pass rush on Kirk Cousins, knocks him down, and Jalen Mills once again gets a double move stuck on him, and Cousins puts it right in there. And that was a monster
Donnie,
play in the game.
are,
Eagles weren't good enough to win that football game yesterday.
are you starting to see Jalen Mills is awful? I mean, you're starting to see that. Are Eagle fans starting to realize this guy can't play? He's not any good, man. I mean, he isn't. He can't cover. He gets toasted on every play. As far as this team, though, I mean, you get the lateral Donnie fumble. Okay, you're going down, and look, just beating yourself with bad penalties. I mean,
Yeah.
intentional grounding. Then you're backed up. It changes the whole complexity of the drive. Then it's 4th and 20. You punt, Donnie. You get a good punt inside the 10. You can't get a stop again. It's at some point, Donnie. We have to discuss Jim Schwartz. I mean, this defense is not
I
good.
thought the defense was fantastic yesterday. Only gave up 16 points,
No,
though. If you're going to give up, you have to win games where you only give up 16 points, Jeff. You have to.
yeah, but listen, it's a culmination. It's not just the defense, but at some point we have to stop with this stupid not playing off receivers 10 yards and giving everything underneath and again, the fumble was bad. The offense wasn't good either. There was a lot of facets of this game that the Eagles didn't play well in. I don't
Doug
think the
Peterson
Vikings
had it. I think Doug Peterson had a little case of CTE, or he was drunk on the sideline with some play calls that he had, with
the
some
challenge was bad
ridiculous
also.
stupid. The challenge was unbelievably bad, followed by a Mike Tomlin-esque 2-point conversion. And I don't even give a shit that he made the 2-point conversion. It was just a bumbling, moronic
It's funny.
play that I see people tweeting on Twitter that said it was the right move. So if it's the right move, why not just go 2 for 2 every single time and
Yeah.
never punt on 4th down? I don't
There was
understand.
this
Like, take all that math shit and throw it out the window, man. Please.
there was this absolutely dopey guy, Donnie, sitting behind me,
God,
and he just shredded me. He was trying to tell me how that was the right call. That was the
stupid shit ever.
absolute right decision. How on earth is that the right decision? You would have went up. It would have been a 7-point game. You make the extra point. It's absolutely stupid and ridiculous. And if he didn't make it, Doug would have been vilified all week for that. Listen, I don't think
Like
the Vikings played
I'm watching the
well.
game
I
at
don't know about
home
you.
and they just score and I see they're lining up for 2 and I almost lost my voice screaming at the TV. Even when they scored, I was like through the commercial break screaming like I have no idea what our coach and everything he did last year would work, right? fourth downs and you're going for it here and there. Everything worked in his favor. And I don't even care that the 2-point conversion was converted. It was an absolutely moronic type of thing that all of a
Yeah.
sudden math came out. Hey, 52% better if you go for two. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. If you tell me math, it's the same analytic geeks in their basement punching through a computer that will tell you that the Phillies, have the Phillies are way ahead of the curve, worse than the Major League Baseball in shifts. But the same thing, bunting. It's better in Major League Baseball. Like if you're in extra innings in the ninth, or let's just say you're in the 13th inning, if you don't bunt the guy over and you strike out, the next guy gets a single. I always love the tweet like, hey, they would have won the game if they bunted. No, you never want to give up an out in Major League Baseball. Dude, it's time, distance, part of the game, how your quarterback's playing. A computer does not compute into a person's head and what the point of the game is. If you're going for it on 4th and inches in the fourth quarter because you need a touchdown, that's the right analytical play. But going for it on 4th and inches on your own 5-yard line in the first quarter, don't tell me it's about analytics and you should go for it. It's moronic.
Yeah. The challenge was bad.
Up.
The offense has been dreadful. I mean, it's the run game has stretches where it looks good, but fucking Peterson doesn't run it enough. It's constant throwing. It's the play goals just getting boring. I mean, I'm sick of the same old crap. You never throw the ball downfield. Carson Wentz looks off to me. I mean, he's holding the ball way too long. The offensive line can't block, and that's the main problem, Donnie. You have to be able to block up front. You got to be able to give your quarterback time. At some point, you have to admit that you are just getting outplayed. Well, look, I don't think the Vikings outplayed anyone. I think the Eagles made a lot of bad mistakes. I mean, at the end
Yeah,
of
the
the
Eagles,
day,
the Eagles
I
are
look,
sloppy. The Vikings won the game. Kirk Cousins was really good, but look, the Eagles play in the NFC East. They're going to win the division still. They'll
sure.
be in the playoffs. They're not going to get home field advantage. Now, I think that's probably a little bit far gone at this point. But when you have a division with the Giants and the Redskins, whoever at Dallas Cowboys, I mean, there's some really bad football teams. The Eagles will win the division, but the aspirations of going another 13-3 or 14-2, obviously, they're going by the wayside. And it was a little bit expected. You come off the Super Bowl. Guys are injured. They're still getting their way back. Brandon Graham actually finally looked like he was a real human being playing football yesterday. So there's some stuff to look forward to as you go. And you still have Carson Wentz for the next 15 years. So you'll be competitive and going for Super Bowl wins over those years as
I
well.
will say this. I think I want to say it was the last 5 times the Eagles were 2-3. They made the playoffs. 2013, 2008, a couple other times. So they have made the playoffs in these situations. But this team has some question marks. I mean, the offensive line has to be fixed. And if you're Lane Johnson and Jason Peters, you got to wake up. I mean, Lane Johnson just keeps getting beat. I mean, he was horrendous yesterday. And he was the one that really caused the sack that went the other way. The Linval Joseph one, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm interested in seeing how they continue this because you got to get healthy. You got to get people back, but you are healthy now. Jay Ajayi's fine. He fumbled the football. He got major issues. But we'll see. Obviously, another big loss by this group. Yeah, well, listen, Trey, we disagree. We think this team is still way better than everyone else in the division.
The NFC, the Eagles are lucky they're in a really, really bad division with a couple. I mean, Dallas is really bad. The Giants are really bad. Washington's going to be a player in there. Washington can get those 8 or 9 wins and maybe, challenge the Philadelphia Eagles, but those other two teams are really bad football teams. And the Eagles are lucky. Again, sometimes you got to be a little bit lucky. We talk about the Patriots in the AFC East, always getting a free ride. The Eagles look like they might get a free ride in the division over the next couple of years here as well.
I mean, I don't know if anyone on this show, I don't know if some of you people actually listen to the show, or you just you pick out one word that I say and then run with everything. Trevor's smart, obviously not too smart. He's not reading, listening. Trevor, I completely shredded the Eagles and everything I just said. I don't think they're a good football team right now. I don't. I said all week they'd lose this game. Kirk Cousins shreds the Eagles. What are you not listening at? Do I think the Vikings were terrific yesterday? No, I don't. This game was very winnable in the fourth quarter. Eagles made mistakes, though, weren't able to finish it out. Do I think they make the playoffs? Yeah, because I think Donnie's dead on the money. Their division's not any good. Do I think they'll do anything in the playoffs? No, I don't. So, is that what you wanted me to hear? Let's move it. Keep it moving, Donnie. Giants die by a field goal and a long field goal. Graham Gano with a 63-yard field goal to win the game. Amazing stuff. A fun and wild game here, wasn't it?
It was wild.
Tough
It was.
tough loss for the Giants.
Yeah, tough loss for the Giants, but it seems like then they lose at the Eagles last year in similar fashion. Now you lose to Carolina that way, but it's not really a snake bitten franchise. The Giants aren't that good, so I mean, a Giants fans really upset with that loss. I mean, we've talked about it for a long time. Eli Manning was atrocious in that football game. He's always going to make 2 to 3 passes in that game that absolutely destroy your football team. And it's funny how the Giants got going in that game, down a couple touchdowns. You had to throw an Odell Beckham touchdown pass in order to get that offense moving along. But look, the John maybe there's I don't know, maybe John Gruden gets rid of Derek Carr and maybe you can bring him into New York and maybe coach him up, but there's not many looks out there. And I guess if you're a Giants fan right now, is it better to throw in the towel again in the season? Because sometimes you can catch lightning in the bottle, right? You got Saquon Barkley last year. Maybe you can do something with that offensive line. Odell Beckham is still young. Do you just tank the football season and get a really, really high draft pick to get that future quarterback? Because if that's something that, if I was a Giants fan, like we rooted for the Sixers, Jeff, I would want the Giants to not win a single game the rest of the year and get the number 1 draft pick and take the best quarterback, and then you'll be set up. Because I think they blew it a little bit drafting that high and taking a running back, even though I love Saquon Barkley. But they might catch lightning in a bottle because you're bringing back Eli Manning, hoping that you can be competitive. Now that you have this start, and there's basically no shot to make the playoffs for the Giants, why not just tank out the football season and get your quarterback? I'm sure if you're a Giants fan, if the Eagles were in this situation and we had some old fossil at quarterback who was terrible, I actually would root for the Eagles to lose every single football game to get that top draft pick because you're a quarterback away in the NFL from being a good football team, and the Giants don't have one. Tank the rest of the way. Go 1-15 and get that top pick.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know who it'll be, but I agree. Look, I love Barkley. I thought at 2 it was a great pick, but I, I thought they had bigger needs, and one was quarterback. The Saints are having the same problem. The Saints are obviously in a different situation because Drew Brees is still playing at a high level, but eventually you're going to have to realize you have to get a quarterback. The Giants are way farther along there. They need a quarterback now. They don't have one. Donnie, speaking of New York, we shout out today. A guy named actually contacted me, Del Redclay. He reached out to me, said hello.
Yeah,
I wanted
big day
to say Happy Indigenous People Day to everyone out there, and that Christopher Columbus he's will not celebrate. Donnie,
one of my favorite
just
episodes, man. Yeah.
yeah. If you're not sure what we're talking about, there was an episode of Sopranos where they celebrate Christopher Columbus Day with a parade, obviously in Newark, and Silvio Dante is a big Christopher Columbus supporter. He loves Christopher Columbus, thinks he's a hero. And there's an issue with an Indian chief that is basically trying to knock Columbus out and not have the parade. And they have all these protests. And remember they had the Donnie, like Bobby Bacala and all them like attack the Indians at the
Yeah, and they got the
parade.
bottles thrown at him and smashed. And I remember it
Yeah.
was who was Artie Bucco goes in the
Artie
car,
Bucco,
locks
yeah.
himself in, and then they go back to the Bing or wherever they're meeting up, and Tony's furious because these feds are on our back and you're down there causing a commotion down there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Great,
And
great
not
one.
for
Great
nothing,
one.
I actually down in Philly yesterday, Donnie, they had Columbus Day parade at Marconi Park, and
Yeah, yeah.
what a fiasco! I mean, getting around in South Philly yesterday. I mean, everything, your Broad Street's
San
blocked off for
Gennaro. Yep.
yeah, it was absolutely a mess. But yeah, whatever your opinion is on Christopher Columbus, today is a Christopher Columbus Day for anyone that
Mhm.
is wondering why their kids are at home and not at school. Um, let's keep it moving here. Steelers get a big W. They needed it yesterday. They do it in convincing fashion. Atlanta, Donnie. Atlanta looks bad, don't they? I mean, they really can't get anything going. Defense either an absolute dumpster fire. And look, the offense had some real struggles yesterday. And be that as it may, Donnie, let this be a lesson to you. You saw a situation yesterday in that game where you had a team that had played 3 straight games at home. They go on the road. Offense didn't play well. To me, I don't think the Atlanta Falcons are backable as far as even on a total in anywhere but their home stadium. I don't trust that offense on
Yeah, they're
Atlanta
not built.
outside.
Then that's it. Because I was on the Steelers yesterday, and it worked out very well. Even though they got up 13-0, and then all of a sudden here comes Atlanta. But the one thing that was bankable in that football game was Atlanta's defense is not built for the grass. You have a good, solid offensive line on the Steelers. They're going to push around those little speed rushers on a slower surface, and you saw it all game long. I mean, the Steelers were just moving up and down the field. The only thing that was slowing the Steelers' defense down actually in that game is they kept, which again is the Steelers' MO. You have to have penalties on their stuff repeatedly to extend drives. But once they got it figured out, I mean, Big Ben was just moving up and down the field, even though his dumb punt pass on the goal line for an interception before the half, which I wanted to, throw my TV out the window when I was doing the closing line. But other than that, the Steelers were an easy victor yesterday. But that's what you're going to get for the rest of the year from the Atlanta Falcons. When they go outside on grass, they're going to be pushed around.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Miami with that awful collapse, 24 points outscored in the fourth quarter, and they lose, and actually don't cover either against the
Oh, man.
Cincinnati Bengals. A dreadful beat if you had Cincinnati yesterday, or if you had Miami. I'm sorry. You're up. What was it? 17-0 at one point. You're getting 6 points. You're thinking, all right, perfect, game over. Not so fast, Donnie. A rough beat and a rough collapse for the Miami Dolphins. And that's a game, Donnie, of epic proportions. That's a game where your season just goes down the drain after that.
Yeah, you had that game. That was your game. And even if you're backing like the Miami Dolphins and you saw that fumble at the end of the game that they returned to go back 10, you forget there's still 2.5 minutes on the clock. So if you're holding a ticket for 6.5, 5.5, the Miami Dolphins should be competent enough to go dip, 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 dip down the field and score. And they weren't able to do that. So it was even like more like, dirt kicked on you in that football game. But that's a shame. You had the right move if you're on the Dolphins. They played well enough to win the game outright. And certainly, even when the game was starting to get close, you're leaning on the fact that, look, all Cincinnati has to do is get a field goal, which they got, but you just couldn't afford the strip, sack, fumble, interception, / whatever going the other way. And that's what happened to you. It happened. Look, in the NFL, man, it seems like in a lot of these football games, it's never over until it's over. And see what you had in that game, man. Tough one if you're on back to Dolphins yesterday.
Yeah, amen to that. Rookie quarterbacks go 4-0. How about that? Yeah, Sam Darnold, Donnie, winner. Baker Mayfield, winner. Who else was a winner yesterday?
Josh Rosen goes on the road. He picked up the win. I mean, there was some – so, like, Sam Darnold was good yesterday. He threw 3 touchdown passes, but he didn't have to do a lot because the running backs really stepped up and helped him out, and that's what you have to do when you have a rookie quarterback behind you. I thought Rosen was average at best. I think it was like 10 of 25, but he did hit that one deep shot in that football game. Baker Mayfield was really impressive to me at home because he made some really clutch throws, as you saw in overtime when that game was still tied up. I think it was, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 on deep in their own territory, 15, 10, 20-yard line, wherever they were at.
Donnie,
He threw a dime.
Josh
Allowed them to win that football game. What's that? Josh Allen won as well.
Josh
He
Allen.
goes. Yeah, he was protected as well also with a really good defensive effort. He wasn't very good. I don't even know if he threw for 100 yards, but kudos to building around your team where they can pick your rookie quarterback up. Because I was wrong. I bang on rookie quarterbacks all game long. I thought Baker was really a force in that game, was a good start. The other 3 quarterbacks managed to do what they did. But look, that's what you do when you have a rookie quarterback, man. You get the rest of the team to rise up and play really well in those type of situations. And they did 4-0 for the rookie quarterbacks, man. That's pretty impressive. But I do want to bring one thing up here. Hugh Jackson as Cleveland's head coach, Jeff. If you watch the football game yesterday, and if you watch anything on ESPN or some of the stuff circling around the internet, do you know after that field goal to make it 9-6 in sudden death overtime at that point to win the game, Hugh Jackson held the hand up for 2 seconds left, figuring he didn't want anybody to go on the field because there was 2 seconds left and they were going to have to kick off and didn't want a penalty. Can you imagine your head football coach being so inept that he has no idea what the rules of overtime are? Why is he still the head football coach of the Cleveland Browns, Jeff? Can you answer me that?
I can't answer that. I mean, and if you're a Hugh Jackson hater, by them continuing to win games, you're hurting that. I mean, because Hugh Jackson will spin his way and find a way to justify this. Do I admit they're better? Yeah, slightly, but I don't think that has anything to do with you. You's just the babysitter there. I don't think they go out and no one really believes in you, Jackson. I don't know. I have no idea how he's a coach. You see him after the locker room acting like an idiot. I mean, no, it's just feeding his kitty as far as him going forward. He's not going to get fired, Donnie, and because I think you're seeing slight improvement. And that's what John Dorsey and that organization wants. But yeah, he's pretty lost as far as the game's concerned. He has no idea what he's doing. Donnie, yesterday, a handicapping situation that I have to ask you about.
Yes,
The
please.
Broncos and Jets. I mean, did people not see the writing on the wall in that game? I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
How
no,
do you actually
you were
believe?
stone cold on that game. You were stone cold, absolutely. Like that game
But
wasn't even a doubt. Like Jets were the better football team.
It's a handicapping thing where in the NFL, you have to be able to see these things, and you have to be willing to bet the other way. I mean, Denver is a better team than the Jets, and I will not argue with you on that. But there's no reason it should have been a pick 'em. None. The Jets have a rookie quarterback. The Broncos can't, they stop everybody. They're great defense. But again, they were on the road and they were off a loss. And they weren't good yesterday at all. You have to be
No, you're
willing to
right.
see that.
Yeah, no, you're right on that. But the hard part for me is, and I said it all week long, like I don't like to take rookie quarterbacks who absolutely have to win the football game. Outside of Baker Mayfield, the other guys, I mean, they did what they had to do and they won. So I'm going to give them credit. I didn't see it coming from a mile away that all four of those rookies would win. But I still have that stigma in my head. Like I don't want it. If they just had a veteran quarterback, if they, somebody's been around a while, even like a Blaine Gabbert, Teddy Bridgewater, I would have felt much, much better about the situation. But again, credit those Jets running backs who said, look, we're not going to put our quarterback in any bad spots. We're going to run for a couple hundred yards and put the pressure on out here, which they did, which was great. But you're right. If you were just looking at like line movements and you're looking at public percentages that were loading up, it was the right because when you saw the Baltimore game, the way it ended up there. You had 75% or so on Baltimore Ravens. Line really wasn't moving off of 3, but you still have the rookie quarterback at home. And same thing with the New York Jets there. The Jets are sitting at, -1s to +1s, depending where you're watching, but still 60 to 70% of the public was backing the Denver Broncos in that situation. It's a great spot situation, but I still have that old stigma in my head where I shut some games out without even looking at it because the rookie quarterback, I just don't want to get burnt by saying this Nudnik went 10 of 25 for 89 yards and I got beat. What am I doing? But look, you were spot on with that play with the Jets.
Play Donnie and nailed. I was on as well. The Lions cruise.
Yeah.
Had no trouble yesterday with the Packers. Mason Crosby misses 5 kicks yesterday, Donnie, which is very odd for him.
In a
He's
dome.
usually very
Yeah.
good. He's usually very good, but yeah, it was. You're right, in the dome as well. Big win for the Lions, Donnie.
No, it was a great win for the Lions, and they matched up really well. And you get some teams where they're banged up, and if you watch the shows, Closing Line, The Audible, The Right Side of Campus, this isn't your father's Green Bay Packers right now. When you just say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers has a pick 'em against the Detroit Lions," it does pique your imagination. Like you want to get after it, and you want to bet it. But look, if you're going to have 3 or 4 weapons either out or dinged up for Aaron Rodgers, and he's going on the road, the defense isn't very good for Green Bay. And my whole premise, Jeff, is what has Green Bay, outside of the win at home versus the Buffalo Bills, what has Green Bay showed you at all as being a dominant or really good football team? Nothing. And they showed it again yesterday. And so, well, if the kicker would make his kicks, yeah, well, if the other team would complete more passes, they would have more points as well. That's what happens in football. Guys go through stretches like that. But the Green Bay Packers, until they get completely healthy, not really going to be too much of a buyer on them at this point.
Yeah, they look like Donnie. Possibly, are they the worst team in that division?
It depends, like how you
I
want to
mean,
look
they
at it.
look like it.
If you're gonna, yeah, exactly. If you're gonna say that we can all come back and be healthy, as long as you have Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be formidable enough to beat any opponent. But yeah, when you look at it right now, you sort of question it.
Amazing. Interesting games for sure. We'll wrap up the NFL in a little bit with some Monday Night Football. Saints Redskins. We might actually break that down on the show at 3 o'clock. So if you're around, we urge you to check that out. A lot of great info coming in on our show at 3 on WCKG Fox Sports Radio in Chicago and online everywhere. Make sure you check that show out today, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, with me and Donnie Rightside. Donnie, some college football. We almost forgot about college football after the long day yesterday, but college football was fun yesterday or 2 days ago. How about the big win for Texas, Donnie? They beat Oklahoma, and Tom Herman as an underdog continues. Amazing. Amazing, Donnie. Is he an auto bet at this point with a dog as a dog? I mean, it's amazing how good they are when they're getting points against big teams.
Yeah, no, it's coaching MO. I mean, he's a pretty good coach, so eventually he's going to get that big machine down there at Texas moving. I thought the interesting thing was it was a noon start. I'm watching the football game, have an eye on it, looking at another couple games, and I'm like, damn, look at that, Jeff. Texas blowing out Oklahoma. No need to watch that anymore. And I'm just surfing around Twitter, and I just see a score pop up as a tie game. I had to tune back in, so another Red River shootout madness type of situation. But look, they were an underdog, so you're probably going to get the cover either way in that one. That's a nice win for Texas, and everybody says Texas is back. Well, back at least to their next football game or the next game that they blow, it seems like. But no, good win overall. Now I question you with this, Jeff. I have a good question on this one. Oklahoma's quarterback, Kyler Murray, right? That loss probably knocked them out because the Big 12, you have to run the table and get lucky even to get in the playoffs with an undefeated record with that idiot conference. Does he sort of shift now his focus, saying, you know what? Probably not going to win the Heisman, which would have been fun. Probably not going to win a national championship, which would have been fun. I got a bright future in Major League Baseball. Not sure I want to take too many more hits here, Coach.
I don't know why he's even in the NCAA to begin with. I would have been
I
gone a
know.
long
Me
time
too.
ago.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't think he doesn't seem like he's built like that. But um, yeah, I mean, could you see him maybe moving on? Sure. I don't think he will. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he should be there to begin with. He's really tempting fate by playing in college football. Donnie, one of the weirdest results of the season to me, and I want to bring this one up. Boise State. This was the weirdest result I've seen this season. San Diego State, who, look, I mean, how do you not give Rocky Long credit? I mean, this team looked dead and buried. I thought they'd get run out of the building in this game. You know, they have
They
no
just
real
bowed up
talent
on
right.
defense. Yeah. Dave,
Yeah,
I know you talked about it a lot
amazing.
last week, saying, I can't believe this football game. But there's something to be said about, bringing a defense on the road. And he's a, man, Rocky Long, it's a shame he's at San Diego State, which I love him at San Diego State because they need him there. And that's why that program is successful. But guys like that, just like the game plan is always sound. Like, don't every year that you have San Diego State, Jeff, it seems like the same MO. He's going to find a really good running back. He's going to find a really tough, smart offensive line and he's going to coach up a kick-ass defense with playmakers. And it's every single year he does it. I loved it. When I saw the final score, and I was like, that's just Rocky Long, and I hope he stays around for another 10 years for San Diego State.
Donnie, I mean, coming into the game on Saturday, San Diego State was 109th in the country against the pass. I mean, just dreadful. They held Brett Rippon to 170 yards, 50% completions, actually under 50% completions, and 2 interceptions. Amazing. Sometimes stats don't mean a fucking thing, Donnie. They really don't. Amazing win by the Aztecs. I don't know how the hell they did that, but they did it. Um, Now, Donnie, this brings me to the next question. Obviously, I think a lot of us thought that the Boise State Broncos were the best G5 team in the country. I think after this weekend, that might be not true. Are you in belief that the UCF Knights are the best G5 team?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, I'm going to see them play a little bit better competition. But if you were to put them both on a neutral site, Boise State or UCF, I think UCF will get the best of them because I just think they have better athletes and obviously the better overall quarterback in that system. But they're moving up in the polls, Jeff. You know what? I almost want to see this. Like, I want the best four teams in, which UCF is not going to be the best four, and they shouldn't be the best four. I don't care if they run the table. But some part of me, Jeff, just says, you know what? Please put them in like the 4 spot. Let's have them go up against Alabama. Let's have the final score 75-20 and put it all to rest. And I want Alabama after the game where they play them. I don't know if it's the Rose Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl where this BCS is going to play out or the top 4 playoff. And I want Alabama and Nick Saban to take a bus down to Spectrum Stadium, wherever they call it at UCF, and go up with ladders and just peel down that UFC national championship sign and just put it to bed.
Well, they're not going to get to the Final Four, so. But you're right. I mean, delusion is key down in Central Florida. They're very delusional people there. They did put that thing up. You're right, Donnie. I actually just saw it recently that they put out like a sign up that they're like it's actually on the stadium.
No,
Amazing.
it's on
Uh,
it's on the like the facade of like the
it's
press
painted.
box
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the luxury seats. It's the letters are all we're national champions. Yep.
Amazing. Um, Notre Dame playoff hunt, sure, of course. They continue to roll. But again, I mean, let's look deep at the schedule. I mean, not a lot of great teams you beat. Let let's just keep it moving. See what Notre Dame does. You got a feeling there's a slip up here at some point. We'll see. But a big win. They keep doing what they do, Donnie. Book continues to be very good. Every time I hear the name Book, I think of that guy from Witness, Donnie. That movie Witness. The co-
Yep.
the co-
Yeah,
the John Book, the guy in
mm-hmm.
the movie, Harrison Ford's character. He was very good again. Dexter Williams continues to run the ball effectively. Notre Dame continues to play well. Wake quits. Yeah, I had a feeling you'd try to find a way to throw this one in. Let's set the stage. Donnie Rightside sitting on the over in this game at 60, I think 59.5, 60, whatever it was. Uh, and
61.
um, and you got Clemson who has 56 points. You're thinking, all right, perfect. Wake's got to have at least 10 points, at least 7. I mean, you have to figure they have something. No, they didn't. They had 3 points, and the game was seemingly over. I mean, it was definitely over. There was a minute left. Clemson could have just kneed on the ball, but you know what, Donnie? I started to see a little bit going on with Dabo, and I see his son in the game. He's trying to do things. He's trying to make things happen. And there's about a minute left, and they're about that. I don't know the Wake 40, Wake 30, something like that. And a play kind of starts, and I see the kid
No, they're
running, and
there
I
at the
see the
50. It
block.
was a 54-yard touchdown
I,
run. Yeah.
I see the blocking getting set up, and I think, oh my God, is he
He's
actually
going to
going to
get
do this?
tripped up.
Because Ohio State did this a very similar thing against Tulane to cover the number a couple weeks ago. They could have just kneed the ball, and they did. They ran and they broke one, and you see him running down the sides. I'm thinking, oh my God, he might get there. He might fucking get there. And as this is happening, I'm getting a knock on my door from this fucking political guy from one of these campaigns. He's knocking on my door, and I'm like screaming. I'm like, go, go, go. And he scores. And, I called you right away, and then
Yep.
you had written it off. I think we'd all written it off, really, because it was a tough beat. It really was. I mean, team scores 60 plus points. The game should go over. Um, Amazing stuff. 63-3 final. Game goes over. Good win.
Yeah, but the worst part about that game was it. I mean, it really had no business going over because you had. But the funny thing
A
was,
big
is
run.
as you're watching it, it was like a track meet out there. Like they were just running a simple read option where the quarterback wasn't even. Sometimes Jeff, when you run a read option, you have a really fast quarterback. You got to pay attention to it. The game was so out of whack that they were just running read option, but just letting the running back go straight up the middle, and they were busting it like it was a track meet. Like they would get past the linebacker, and it was a race to the end zone. So now I'm saying, because you needed one score with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Clemson's going to start to put their backups in. Wake Forest had already quit, which was interesting because their first string quarterback wanted no piece of anything, and he was ducked out at the half. Like he just checked out. Surratt, their big time play wide receiver, excuse me, not Surratt, Dorsch, I believe his name is. Like for some reason slipping me. He gets knocked out of the football game. He limps off. So they're down to nothing. There's 10 minutes to go in that game when Wake Forest gets the football. They put a
They're just running
freshman
up the middle.
string bean quarterback in the football game with another freshman running back. They take the first snap and hand off, Jeff. They get maybe, 1 or 2 yards on that play. The quarterback then lines them up, and the Wake is a super fast offense. He's sitting back there at 25 seconds, standing up like a beanpole and waiting for the clock to go down to 1 and then hand it off again. If you saw at the end before that, they bust off like a 40-yard run. So I'm like, hey, they're going to go back in fast mode. There's about 7 minutes to go. They're on the 30-yard line going in. They run clock. They actually end up throwing 2 passes to the end zone, which one clown young kid drops on there. But I couldn't believe that I was watching a football game, Jeff, where one team literally looked like they just wanted to take a knee with 10 minutes to go
Donnie,
in the fourth quarter. It was, I've
listen,
never seen it. Never seen it in my life.
I got to tell you, if I'm Dave Clawson, I mean, why not? I mean, the game's over. Why get people injured? Why not just get out of there? I mean, I get it. I mean, they obviously did quit, but I mean,
Yeah, but
Clemson.
most college football coaches put their backup in or their third string in and say, hey, look, we might need this guy. Let's actually run a competent offense. But I could see, Jeff, if there was 4 minutes to go in the game and you're on your own 30, dude, let's just get out of here. There were 10 minutes to go, and they were running the clock. Now, good. Granted, Jeff, this isn't a team that runs it down. This is a team that snaps the football with like 30 seconds on the play clock, and they're letting it go down to 1. I was losing my mind. But, hey, look, it's a good thing on that thing where it says Wake quits, because if Wake didn't quit, then the defense would have still been playing football at the end of the game, which they were not. So I'm actually glad they quit the way it worked out.
Hawaii beats Wyoming, and
Yeah.
this one was this was a very shady situation here. You For anyone that doesn't think that there's things going on sometimes in sports betting, you should wake up a little bit. I mean, this was a weird situation. I mean, again, Donnie, you see a quarterback not play over just some random injury. I mean, where
What was the injury? I
first of
saw Flip. What was the actual injury
supposedly
that he had?
supposedly he had internal bleeding.
So he probably had
which
it all week long then, right?
sure, agreed. And again, I want to make this very clear. I had Hawaii. I laid 2.5. I bet the game the night before. And these are the situations that you dread as a handicapper because Donnie, not only are you having to live with the fact that you have a play where the quarterback's out, but you also have to deal with the fact that you have every human being on earth that buys your service contacting you, asking you if the play is still a go. Listen, I don't buy out of plays really. It's
You
not something I
can't.
do
There's no
because
way you could do that
it's
because not
yeah,
everybody would
it's
be
way
able to
too
get at him,
difficult. And at the end of the day,
and you end up middling yourself.
I wouldn't have did it anyway because I would have had a weird line and I probably would have lost anyway and I would have been pissed off. Listen, I knew the backup, the freshman Cordero. He's a good player. He's from Hawaii. He was set all sorts of records out there. And he was very good. He was fine. He did enough. Wyoming's offense is dreadful. I think we all are well aware of that. Where would they be without Nico Evans? I mean, seriously. Dave Koken tweeted that out. And he made a good point. Without without Nico Evans, I'm confident in saying this. Hawaii or Wyoming would be the worst offense in the country. They're just absolutely disgusting to watch. And defensively, they both played pretty well here. But yeah, these are tough games, Donnie, to root in because you can't watch them. There's nowhere to listen. You're really just going off what Twitter's saying and what the Hawaii Twitter's tweeting out and stuff like that. But yeah, this was a tough one. And I don't know if you saw the final touchdown Hawaii got, Donnie. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I saw just the stat line on there, touchdown pass.
Yeah, it was like if you get a chance, you got to try to find it. It was like it should have been a pure sack, and like Cordero just throws it up to the end zone, and someone comes down with the touchdown. It was pretty wild, but yeah, it ended up working out. So I'll take it. Donnie, quickly, let's I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. We'll give a quality in depth prediction on the show at 3 o'clock with the Monday night game. We did it last week. It worked out well. Donnie
Yeah.
and I will take 15 minutes over the show at 3 and go over that game. Saints Redskins, which should be fun. And Donnie in honor of Del Red Clay, actually.
I love that
Um,
red play.
the MLB Monday. I mean, Donnie, I guess we have to keep talking about MLB. That
Yeah, the
that
only
is
reason I
in the
brought it up is because there's day games on Monday, so I always get a
sure.
little bit of like, because I don't really care about the games, but I like when they put them on in the day because, usually I'm capping some games, getting some information. It's nice to have a live sporting event on my TV. But as I said yesterday, on
Sure.
Saturday and Sunday, I didn't see a single pitch. And I'm not, again, I was just asking it just as a fan of like, sports gambling and, doing whatever. But there was not a single part of me where anybody around me in my life was like, "Hey, what's the score of that Braves game?" Like, not you just check the score, like, "Oh, it was baseball yesterday. I wonder who won." That's really how it was.
Yeah, I came home for the game and I saw it was 6-5, and the only reason I saw that is because I went on my live betting app to see about a game, and there it was. I will say this: I think Houston closes it out. I believe that. I think Cleveland's cooked. I think they're done. What do you think about?
I
What do you
the
think
only
about
reason why I
Houston?
root Yeah, the only reason I root for the other way because I just want to have like more baseball during the day. So I'm actually rooting. I was actually glad that Atlanta had won last night, Jeff, because now we get a 4:30 game with something on TV. Extend these series 'cause I don't have anything going on either one of these, but I'm certainly not watching it. And just to make another point, last night, if you're watching the Dallas Cowboys Houston game, one of the more inept two organizations in football, run by inept head football coaches. Sometimes you'd rather watch baseball than some nonsense like that. The only good thing that came out of it is the Cowboys did up losing that game. And one quick New Jersey point here, Jeff. Look, I had Illinois and Rutgers to go over the total. They had 38 at the half. I had to get to 50. Looked like it was going to be in the bag. And I needed a nice late run to pull that out. Jeff, Rutgers, what went wrong? Just real quick, in your opinion, from moving on from Shiano, what went wrong where they I don't know. I don't know. It's one of the more baffling programs out there that doesn't
Well,
even
I mean,
compete. What are they doing
look,
in the Big
Donnie,
Ten for
they're they're
football
they're
or
they're very
basketball?
sim. They're very similar to a mid-major in college basketball. They get lost. I mean, they can't recruit. I mean, you look at all the
But they
high-level
could
athletes.
though. Yeah, like it's so like
Yeah,
you're in
but
a fertile area for football talent, which the Penn States of the world come in. The Syracuses used to come in. And now you see like, the bigger schools in North Jersey. Those kids are going to Alabama, the Minka Fitzpatricks. They don't even look at Rutgers. But you had it rolling for a while. Kids were staying home, getting good talent in there. And then you decide that we are a bastion institution of learning. We do not want to be football. We're going to join the Big Ten because it's an academic upgrade from where we were in the past. What are we doing here at Rutgers, man? Jeez.
Well, I mean, at Rutgers they did only have like Ray Rice, so I guess you hit on one
Oh, they had the
recruit.
Leonard at fullback, Ray Rice. Who was they had a decent quarterback back then, even before like the Tom Savages who made it to the NFL. They had Tyquan Underwood, Kenny Britt. They had and they also had a really good tight. I mean, they were a good football team,
I guess I
knocking
forget
down
about
those
some.
big time Louisville teams, knocking down those big time West Virginia teams, the Steve Slayton, Pat White teams. Like Rutgers was a good football team, man. They used to sell
Yeah.
out at home, Jeff. Sell out 60,000 seats when they would play West Virginia and all those big boys on Thursday Night Football. They had it going and they ruined it because they got upset that they started to pay Schiano like $1.5 million. Amazing how short-sighted they were. Amazing.
Dude, you know when Rutgers slipped, Donnie? Seems like ever since they gave Snooki like $40,000 to speak there, it's never been the same.
Or no, they didn't ask her back. Yeah, they had a problem with it. So
Yeah,
maybe that was the
it's
curse. They
never
just let it go.
it's never been the same. By the way, Donnie, shout out to the situation. Situation's heading to the Slammer for a couple of months.
Yeah, get a street cred.
Mike
Get a street cred up. We'll come back better on the opposite side. Probably have even a tell-all book and a new show to begin with. So good for him,
Now,
right?
8 months in prison, that's literally he'll do like 3. So it's really not too bad. 3 or 4, you know.
Even
So
if I thought feds you had to do more, used to say no, you can get out a little bit early.
nah, it's 50%, 50 or 80. Actually, you're right. It's 80%. So he'll do like 5 months. It sucks for him though, because he'll probably try to delay the sentence maybe until like after Christmas, maybe. I don't know. To see. That sucks though. Not a great time. We'll wrap it up, Donnie. Quickly. I'm gonna lean Houston. I think they close out the Indians today. The rest of the games we'll break down a little bit later on the closing line on the radio. Make sure you check us out for that. We thank everyone for all the great comments as always, and all the people that listen in. Donnie, we'll be back Tuesday with another show. We'll talk more about football and everything else going on in the world of sports. You all have a great day and a great Monday. Donnie, tomorrow we got Fun Belt. How about that? Arkansas State and
Oh,
App
Tuesday
State.
game? Yeah, you know what? I saw that come up, but I actually didn't know when it was. How about that, man?
Now we got an interesting line in this game, Donnie. Arkansas State getting 8.5 at home. Ooh, whoa, that looks
App
pretty.
State's got to App State's got to go, man. Some of these teams are a little bit surprising me. The Arkansas State, Jeff. How about some of the luster going off North Texas right now? I mean, we're struggling out here with UTEP. What's going on in college football down there?
But you look at App State. I mean, they have 3 wins: Charlotte, Gardner Webb, and South Alabama. Ark State obviously stepping up. They played Alabama. They played UNLV. They played Tulsa. They played some teams that are obviously higher ranked than they are. They're getting more than a touchdown at home. That's a little gaudy to me. I don't know. Over looks pretty good as well, but we'll talk about that game a little bit later as well. Make sure you join us for all that stuff. Everyone have a great point. Fade Jeff Nadeau's NBA picks. He is terrible. Well, listen, I advise you to do that. You would be 0-5 right now by fading my NBA picks. Donnie, that might not be a good idea, Donnie, right? I mean,
No,
if someone's
not the best idea, but also there is an emerging market that I think everybody in the chat box wants to get into. I see you guys talking about like, crypto technologies and,
yeah.
crypto stuff. Here's the new emerging thing. It's 2018. By next year, this is going to be the hottest market to get into, Jeff, and I think you'll agree with me. People buying free plays. That is the next movement in this industry. Forget about paid services. Get into the market of putting out free plays where people pay you good money for those free plays.
Yeah.
That is the tip I'm going to give you on the stock
And,
market here.
and people will say, "Well, big man, why don't you give out NBA plays on your service?" Because it's preseason. I'm not going to give out for NBA. I'm not going to charge people for preseason. Just do it for fun. And if anyone knows, I want to make this very clear to people. A lot of the time when I post those videos, there's a reason I post them. A lot of it is shtick. It's funny. People think it's interesting. I don't actually a lot of that stuff. It's just for fun. I just do it for laughs. But yeah, I do not sell NBA preseason picks. So shout out to that fucking verified idiot that tried to say I did. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for checking us out. We'll have some more preseason tonight. We'll try to go 6-0 on those picks. See you later, Donnie. Have a great Monday. We'll see you at 3 on the radio.